Hi everyone, Ann Cornick from Paint and Porcelain Exchange. Today we're going to start our snowballs, something a little bit different. And not everybody, I don't think, really knows what they are, so I have some pictures that I can show you. The colors for this week are, we're going to start with berry. So this berry is a red purple. There aren't a whole lot of red purples out there. This is the color right here. That's the color. And it's not very full, but you can kind of see it's pretty much the same color as the top. The other colors we're going to be using for today are berry. Then we're going to use moss green and chartreuse. And I have a dark green there. I don't know if we'll use it today or not, but I put it on because sometimes I need something in order to do a little bit of shading for me. And then I have a baby blue, which I'll probably mix with some of those colors to give us a little bit of shading. And I'll also, if you look at get it off of here again. If you look at this, you can vaguely see, where is it? Here. Oh, here on this side. See that there? There's a little blue there. And as I turn it around, there's a little blue up in there. So that's baby blue. I wanted a little bit of relief from the two colors all the time. Next time, you will need shading green and black blue if you have it, or dark blue, because those will be the colors that I'll be using next time. Okay, now, snowballs, what are they? They're not hydrangeas. They're not the big petals. They're little itty bitty petals like this. And they're only white, and they have that chartreusey feel to it. And they have leaves, and the leaves change according to the type of snowballs you have. So the ones that I actually sketched on here are a different type of snowball than what I have in my backyard. They have more of a hydrangea leaf. So if you do a hydrangea leaf, like here's a real good example, that's fine too. So I'm going to start, of course, with this is my filbert. I like the filberts real well for putting on color, just because they seem not to force me into one particular corner. And I'm going to start with my main. I know you're supposed to start with the background stuff. So let's start with the background here, these leaves, and then we'll come into our main flower. Full load of chartreuse, side load of moss initially. And I'm just going to start back in here and just add some of that in. Now I've got the moss. I'm going to add a little blue to it. Just a very little. Full load of chartreuse, side load of moss with a little blue. I'm just trying to give me a little interesting color there. I think blue sometimes hints of shadow. And so I like to mix colors. I'm using artistic license on this. So those of you that are going, that's not the color that leaves are, tough. Okay, now I pulled it down here, and I'm going to go this way. You always paint towards yourself. And if you're painting a bowl, it's going to be a little more difficult because of that. Now, I could put in, let's turn it towards you. I could put in, a little bit of veining now, just so I kind of know where it is. But I'm doing everything very lightly because I want this first layer just to give me a layer to work from. I don't really want it to portray anything too heavy that's hard for me to follow up with the next time. So I want to make sure it goes on lightly. Okay, so now here, I'm going to take a little chartreuse, a little moss, and then I'm also going to take a little bit of, you guessed it, my berry, and I'm going to add it here. Let me get more berry here. You know what? I don't like the mixture of those colors. I'm going to try to keep my berry really clean. So that's why you use the red marker, see? Let me try that again with just the berry. Let's just do the berry this time. I may have to mix up a little more berry too. Yeah, there we go. Now, the way I do my leaves is I do this side a little bit like that with a little C stroke and this side with a little C strokes. Now I'm going to clean my brush and pick up my other colors, which are my chartreuse and my moss, full load chartreuse, half load moss, and a touch of blue. And I'm going to turn it this way, and I'm just going to come up this side. I'm hardly touching the china, hardly touching it. Want a little more blue right here. No, a little more. If you're careful, you can actually add the colors you want as you do it. Very gently, okay? That's that guy. Now, let's do the one above him just because. Clean my brush. I'm side loading again with berry. And I want my berry to come in here and here. See how far back I'm holding my brush? If you have a longer stem on your brush, I think sometimes it really helps because it gives you that ability. And see, this has a real thin, can you see how thin that is? Let me turn it this way. Yeah, there. How thin that becomes at the top. There we go. And where else do I want berry? I want a little berry down here too. So let's put a little berry down here. My sun, of course, is coming this direction. And and I come down the middle, and that gives me kind of my middle stroke there. Okay. I'm going to clean my brush, and I'm going to oil it. I'm going to turn it this way. You can still see, and I'm just going to follow the leaves around this way, just the tips. Not dark enough. Let me get just moss green on there. There we go. And now over here, I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to add moss green along the side, across the top, and up to here, because I've already done all the other in the purple. So you're just trying to give yourself some colors underneath to work with. I like colors. If you don't like colors, you know, you're probably in the wrong place because I love colors. Okay, and this, oh, I did this one first. Well, let's do this guy now. Now this guy I'm going to make really a blue-green because he's kind of in the background more than the other, and this one's going to be more of a purpley green. So I'm just starting with my moss and adding a little of the blue to it, and I'm just going to come down like this. Now I know that's too sharp. Oops, here, let's pull it this way. But I can always pat it out or do something with it if I don't like it. So that's not a problem. And I'm going to come up here. But this will be pretty under my final coat. There we go. And I want to pull this over a little there. There we go. And then this last leaf here. The leaves are simple. And I'm doing this over here. I'm way back on my brush now, the very end of my brush. And the reason I do that, I learned that from doing acrylics, is that it seems like it helps. You don't have as much control, and it seems like you're a looser painter, and if that's what you want to be, that's a good way to get that way. So if you want to paint loosely, this is an excellent way to do it, is just get to the end of your brush and do it. Now, when you get out of the lines, you're going to want to wipe that up. So I know those leaves don't look real realistic right now, but they will. They will, and they'll be very pretty on this with the background and everything. So here's what I have so far. Oh, let me move it a little towards you. Going to start, and I'm going to start on, I guess, this one, because that's where I am right now. So I'm just going to start and put that color, which is the chartreuse, up in there. And then I'm going to put a little bit of a darker. This is the dark green I'm using with it down here. And then you want a little bit of the darker in the center, like in here. So I'm taking moss, doing around the outside there. And I'm way back on my brush again, and I'm doing, oops, a little too heavy there. And doing this on the inside here. Yeah. And then I'm going to start using either, you can use the pointed ones if you have them. And you know, if you go out into the white, it's not going to show. So you don't need to do that this time. All you really need to do is start working on these little guys. And that's not going to show up very much, so I'm going to put more green on there because you're going to take a lot of this off. A lot of this is coming off. Let me put a little more dark in the middle here too. Okay. Okay. So I think I'm going to go back to my favorite guys here, these stumps. Stumps. They're cardboard. You can buy them at any kind of any one of those art stores. You can also buy them, I believe, at like Michael's and stuff. See how tiny I'm going? And I'm going with every one. But I'm not trying to. So if you have a picture like this that you can look at, that will also help you try to get the look of it. You want the look of it. It doesn't have to be precise. It would be nice, but you're not doing a study on these where you're close up. You're just doing a few of these. Wipe it on your towel as you go. They will go out on the next one. You will have to redo this and go out on the next one. But this way, you've got a good base in there. To get started, I don't like this down here. It's a little too dark for me. Okay, and now we're going to come over here. This one's pretty easy. This one we're going to do all in the greens. Heavy green. Just plop it on. A little bit lighter green maybe down here. If you want a little blue in the center, you could do that. Or you could do the dark green in the center. And the same thing. You're just going to start and you're going to just do these little guys. Now, I usually start in the center and work out. Gotta wipe off my thing. I don't even know if you can see these because they're awfully light. You want to make them going every direction, not just one direction. Am I in the way? Maybe I should go on this side. Is this better? If I'm on this side and I start out there and work in. Okay, I think it's a little too light for me. Let me get a little more green with a little dark on it for this side. Yeah, that's better. Maybe a little dark down here, maybe a little dark up there. I think they'll show up better this way. Okay, and then we're going to do it this way and this way. The idea is to get this base in like this, because what's going to happen is you're going to keep doing this each time, putting more and more over it. And you will be able to fine tune these, but you don't necessarily have to fine tune them on the first one. All right. This guy, I'm going to make a little bit more smoky kind of. Hang on. I'm going to add a little bit of this in the middle. And then go on the outside with this too. This is your focal one. And if you find that this works for you and you're happy with it, then you might want to go back and add more color on this one. In fact, I think I probably would. Now I'm going to use this guy and do them. Can you see what I'm doing? Yeah, you can. And you probably can see it better with the Q-tip. I don't like the Q-tips for this as well, but they do work. Now here, when you do this guy, you will be able to go over the edge and make those little, let me show you here. These little guys, see how they hang down? That's what you're going to be doing. Thing is, people will find a pattern in this, so if you aren't real careful about making these all little perfect little X's and little flowers and stuff, they will see the pattern in it. And don't forget, the flowers are like one behind another. I wonder, I'm just going to go back here and see if it makes a difference. No, it really doesn't. It just, I had the darker colors on there. Now we're going to do darker colors over on the side here. And this one really should have been one that was a little more fluffy. I'm a little disappointed. But I can fix that up when I put the background on. So that's one thing I want to make sure you know, is that whatever you do on here, when you get ready to put the background on, you can pull those out and make them a lot more. See here, let me show you on this guy. See that one? I really was able to pull it out and make it a lot more into the background. So don't worry about that right now. Just get your colors on and get your people together here. Okay, here, this is going to be a heavy berry. It's way behind this guy. And of course, down in this area is where my, let me do a little on here too. Maybe that'll help there. I kind of like that. Okay, and then I'm going to clean it again. Try to keep your colors as true as you can on this. It's really important. I'm going to do this guy over with a darker green, I think. So I will, yeah. So using this, which is kind of my, I've got other pictures too, but see how they all come down under? I'm sort of doing that with this guy here because he's on top. These are under. Oops, lost my point on that guy. So I'm just going to, now as you get back into the dark, you don't need to do quite so many. You just sort of hint at them. And here you can go out too, because you've got something behind it. And over here you could go out too, because you've got something behind it. I forgot about that. Let's do these guys. Okay. And here. Okay. It smears a little bit with the pen. I had to put the pen on here because mine were coming through pretty weak. What I would suggest with this is that you do it, you walk away, go have lunch, do whatever you're going to do, then come back and see what you think of it. Take a picture of it, see what you think of that. A lot of times your picture will tell you what you're missing, what you still need to do. For instance, this was the picture I took of my first fire here. And I was working on the second fire, obviously. But that helps to tell me what things are looking like and if I'm doing the right thing or if I'm just messing it up. And I think that that's pretty helpful. This one I made very pale on my original, and I'm actually second thinking that now because it didn't show up enough. So I'm going to do it only with chartreuse and a little blue, but it really didn't show up the last time. And I think you're having trouble too seeing some of the things I do because of the pale colors. So I'm just going to, now I know there's not any blue on this. I know there's not, but let me get a little more green in here. But I'm going to take it down to the green, so we'll see. Okay, so I did that one. And I want this side to be a little more... And you can put the paint on outside the lines if you think it will also help. I think I need a little dark on this guy. I don't want it to be the center of attention, but okay, here we go. Now I'm picking more off this side because this side really should have been in the this is all shadow. I mean, the light comes this way, so this should all be light. And then we get over here. The pattern. What I did with this bowl, which is similar to my other bowl, is, okay, I took the pattern and I cut it. And then I just pieced it back together in a way that would work. And I created the pattern so that, in fact, you would have that ability to kind of piece it. I'm having trouble with this area up here. I can't see what I did because the line kind of spread on me there. So when you're putting the pattern on, I would suggest that's something you might want to try, is just really, really work at trying to keep the pieces separate and then putting them all together. And then I've got this little guy way over here. I want to make sure you can see him when I'm doing him. He's not going to be anything fantastic. Oops, I'll move him a little more. Here. Yeah, that's better. Okay, and I'm just doing a few up on him. Went back to my stump. I like my stump. It doesn't have to be fantastic on this version. You just want color there so that when you fire it, you can find it again. Oh, and right here, I need to now go through and make your edges a little irregular. Now that you're done with all the... This guy in particular, I want to make irregular. This one should have been much more irregular. So I'm using the side of a big stump, and I'm cutting into it to just wipe it out, okay? Here I can't do it so much, but up here I can, and down here I can. And over here I can. So you're just going to cut into it. Just so they aren't so round, round, round. You want them to have a little bit of shape to them. Okay. And if when you take them out of the kiln, there's some color there, who cares? We're putting background on anyway, right? Okay. This guy, I think, needs a little cutting too. See, I've got that red coming off. Okay, now the last thing we do is we take our liner. This is my liner. So I did all that with my number, what is this, a 16, 12, number 12 filbert. I did the whole piece with my number 12 filbert. So let this dry overnight, okay? And one of the things that you're going to want to do then is you can take a little bit of paint and come back and add a little paint here and there. You'd have to use a smaller brush like a 2 or a 4, but you can do it, or you can wait till the next time and do it. Whatever works for you, okay? All right, now I'm going to take and just make sure that I have my stems in. The stems on those flowers are kind of a yellowy green or green. So I'm just going with moss right now, and then I can play with it later, okay? But I want to make sure I have them. Oh, can you see this down here? Yeah, you can. Bring it all down to one point. Oops, that guy didn't take, did he? And then bring the stem down. Don't worry if your stems aren't perfect on this time, because you can always, you know, you can play with them. You can finesse them. You can use a little bit of eraser. You can use a little bit of more of a liner and get better results next time. This one, he doesn't have that much there. It gets a little wider here. I forgot that. It gets a little wider right there where those collect. Okay, and then they go like this. And you can put as many in as you can stand. Okay. And then I'm going to come over to here. I'm going to do the same thing. Put my liner. Do a little dance right there. See, if you go further in, you see how you get that look? It kind of pulls everything back. Now, I didn't really want to pull everything back there, but I knew you could see that. So I'll just do this and do a little more of this. And okay. All right, and now we still have this guy at the top. You can also use an eraser. People use erasers. The erasers leave a little paint buildup on the sides. And that, I don't like that. So I don't use erasers for that reason, because I don't like the paint buildup. And every once in a while I get a really dark spot, and I go, well, where did that come from? Well, it's because I used an eraser and the paint built up. And a little more there, right there. Okay. Purple in here. I'll fix up the one I kind of screwed up here. I would say kind of do it in C's or in circles. It does have some buildup from time to time, and you may have to go in and wipe it off. And then, you know, just touch where that buildup is, and it'll lift it. Okay, there we go. Don't like this here. Okay, this is what I've done so far, okay? Can you see the whole thing there? All right, that's first fire. And it's going to fire out a lot. And I'm going to play with this a little more too, so. And then this is the second fire. And I know we haven't used blue-black in a while, but you can see the blue-black in here, around here, and oops, I've got it up in here, and over on this side you can see blue-black, and a little bit right down in here. It's just one of my favorites, always has been. And so this is only second fire. Pick up those brushes, keep painting, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Program. And I hope you'll take a minute to subscribe so that other people can learn more about China painting and we can get the word out to more people. You also can look at the links below. My Paintnporcelain.com website has a lot of freebies and printables for new and experienced painters, as well as studies, supplies, and even some of my hand-painted china. So thank you again, and I'll see you next time.